Are you a prayerful entrepreneur? Somebody looking to lean in to their prayer life and the hopes and dreams and aspirations and promises of God, and yet you are feeling like you're treading water? What if instead of taking the massive experience of what this is going to be and praying into what it is right now in this moment, the thing that you need right now in the granular, so that just like we plant seeds, it will grow and we're toiling rather than just waiting for the harvest. I feel like I've been there. Sometimes I am there. Depends on the day, right? We're always becoming. And so today I want to go through this incredible book that I've recently discovered, specifically an area of prayer and a practice of prayer called the Brief Prayer Strategy. And it's going to take brief, the word, and break it into acronyms. And I wanted to briefly, no pun intended, go over it for you today. So the B stands for business related. Again, it's not in your control. It's not in your power that this thing is going to exist. Now, do you have to activate? Sure. But it's not just a place where you just stay in prayer over the fact that this is going to become. Instead, act today, act now in the business of praying, in the business of activating towards the bigger vision. I hear all the time people will come to me like, I've seen myself speaking on stages of 10,000 and God has promised me that I'm going to have a microphone and I'm going to be able to affect the globe, right? I'm like, that's amazing. I feel that way too. What are you doing right now to get on that stage of 10,000? Have you been on a stage of 1? Have you been on a stage of 5? Are you willing to humble yourself to be on a stage of just 20 or 50 or 100? How do you think practice comes into play? God is no different than the thing you do when you're in a sports team, right? That you can't just go out and win the trophy. You have to practice in that pursuit. You have to become better. And then the prize comes and then the harvest is reaped. So business related, right? Pray into your business. The next one is relevant. Okay, so often big picture, but what is the relevancy of that big picture today? What if instead of praying over the millions that you're going to affect, you pray over the one you have a meeting with today? You pray with them, in fact. Change the trajectory of their day and you change the trajectory of your vision. We need word of mouth still today, even with all the social media that we have, and yet we forget about the relevancy of the one. He left the 99 for the one, and so we're called to do just the same as him, no different. So be relevant in your prayer life. Ask for the humility to show up for the one and be okay with the comment or the post or the video that doesn't have a lot of subscribers, but you're prayerful and hopeful and yet showing up today in the business and in the relevancy. Okay, the next letter is I, and it's the inside out. We're business entrepreneurs with big dreams, moving through our days with the hope of the outside experience, and yet we forget that until the inside has been cultivated, until the inside has a harvest, we cannot expect a harvest from the outside. And today, sadly, with consumerism and everything that's going on in the globe, everything looks like the outside in. A highlight reel, for instance, doesn't show me the inside of your heart or the brokenness of your head or the depletion of your spiritual life. And so as a prayer-empowered entrepreneur, I encourage you to pray from the inside out instead of the outside in. The next one is expectant, E, right? We're going down the brief word in case you forgot. B is business related, R is relevancy, I is from the inside out, and E is expectant. I know when you have these huge visions, your expectancy is massive. And at the same time, sometimes it's hard to exist just in the moment because the thing that is promised is not yet here. And yet we know by faith that when we plant the mustard seed, the massive tree will eventually grow and it will harvest a place for animals to exist and us to take shade. I heard someone speaking recently about the grand sequoia. And I thought about, wow, like I want to be a sequoia tree. Don't you? A place that life exists, a place that environments can stay safe, a place that animals and people and Everyone in the realm of being can exist, even the wind. Are you staying in the expectancy that the thing you're planting is actually bigger than maybe even the dream, maybe even the vision? I actually placed this word expectancy over my life one year, and there's a book called The One Word, and I had an opportunity to speak with the author recently, and he said, namely, people will use January 1 to December 31st and they claim their word, but a few years back, I think it was 4 at this point, maybe 5, I chose to do it over my birth year because the calendar year can be fickle and things like COVID can happen and you feel like, oh, the year's gone into hell in a handbasket. And so I'll just start again next year. But guess what? Your life is still existing. Your granular is still now. The relevancy of today still matters. Your dream can exist if you aren't showing up in this very moment. It's exactly why I'm here for you. The small gets the grand. And so be expectant over the fact that today in the small, there is something big coming for you. But when I planted that word expectancy over my life, God has a sense of humor. And what I was expecting didn't happen. And yet, does that mean my prayers weren't heard? Does that mean he didn't actually pursue or activate over the things I was activating in? Absolutely not. It means my vision was a little bit selfish. It means my vision was still a bit rooted in greed. It means that my ego was still taking over rather than humility. And so the prayer empowered entrepreneur, which is where I'm getting this from, by the way, Kim Avery, this is an amazing resource for you. Just taking a little chunk for the brief prayer right now. You have power in your day if you are expecting that even the small has greater purpose. And you have to really truly believe this, not just say that you believe this. Exist in the tiny microcosms of your life, of the minute, of the moment, of the second. All the way back to the business relevancy of the one person you get to be with today. The 15-minute intro call, the 45-minute sales call, the team meeting, the drive to work where you introduce yourself to the barista at the coffee shop drive-through. Every single moment matters. And my prayer recently has been that God precedes me in every single moment so that when I get to that second in expectancy, I feel his presence. And instead of taking on my own agenda, I take on his. So maybe that's your prayer today. God, precede me in every moment. So when I show up, I see you. I see you first, foremost, and always. Last letter is frequent. F, brief prayer strategy. F, frequent. Do not compartmentalize the moments of your day or your prayer life, because when you do that, you forget him in the granular and your expectancy goes to the wayside. Because you have to do this thing, the task list that never ends. You guys, my agendas are like literally surrounding me. Here's my office, right? I've got to-do lists everywhere. Look at my notes over here. They don't go away. They don't go away. And so if I stop my frequency in prayer, these things become overwhelming. And one of my biggest passions is that we, as prayer-empowered entrepreneurs, we, as prayerful, expectant, just existing presently people of God, that we do not live in the overwhelm, but instead we live in the overflow. And overflow only exists from a connected prayer life, from a vertically aligned place of continual healing, continual becoming, continual existing from the inside out, so that we can serve and we can also receive. Because I know your prayer. Let me just go there. I know your prayer. God, make this fruitful. God, please, I want to hit this goal number. I want to do this thing on behalf of my family. I want to earn and get and receive. Yet in order for a present to be handed to you, you have to release what's already in it. For open hands, for an open heart, for open space, for you to be able to exchange. And exchanging is coming in a place from prayer. God, I hand to you my greed, my ego, my thoughts, my control over this situation. And instead, I come to you in utter submission and surrender for the gift that you might have that might be this big today. And so I look in expectancy over your presence before me that precedes me. And I show up for the moment and I say yes to you and only you. You guys, be blessed. If this blessed you, please comment below, subscribe, review, do all the things. I'll be coming at you not just with incredible insights from incredible books like this one, but also from my own revelations and my own prayer life. And I have so many to share. So I would be honored to continue this journey with you as the prayerful entrepreneur, the joyful entrepreneur, the say yes to him every second of every day entrepreneur. And if you have not yet heard, we have the Kingdom Clubhouse Conference coming up in October. And I'd love for you to be there. So if you haven't seen it, check out the link below and get your ticket today because it's going to be epic. And if you're watching this after 2021, there's probably a conference you can come to too. So I'll see you later. Bye.